Boo, boo, baby, boo. Feedback in the headphones. Welcome on, welcome on. How are we all doing today? What a fantastic weekend that was. I hope you're all having a blast. Big smile on the face. Let me make sure I have everything in order. Have you got everything in order this morning, Mr. Croft? Yes, yes. Working on it now. Working on it now. Only streaming this morning from to Periscope, Twitch, and D Live, and then we'll re-upload to the YouTube. Those of you joining me here on YouTube, good morning, everybody. This is a pre-recorded show. I know you're in the live chat now, cordially greeting each other, welcoming each other to the start of another refreshing week. There's a new dawn dawns on us. A new dawn dawns on us. Yeah, I think you can get away with that, GT. I think you can get away with that. Can you?
Yeah, I think you're golden with that one. Yeah, crack on, yeah. All right, thanks for that.
Okay. I only have one real big article today, but a couple of points I want to touch in on, a couple of processes. Anything interesting happening over the weekend? Please, my friends, relax. Big deep breath in. Let them enjoy their moment because it's changing. Oh, it's going to be glorious. I don't actually have popcorn with me at the moment because it is far too early for popcorn. And as we don't have the live chat with us this morning, I'm going to making a couple of announcements, but I'm going to be changing the format slightly. Irish in Manchester, our one and only audience members with us. Michael John Dennis from Manchester. Great to see you, Michael. Keep the faith, keep things rolling. But as I said, this will be pre-recorded. I don't expect much in the attendance over on Twitch or D Live. But for those of you watching now on YouTube, enjoy it. Enjoy it while we have this precious time together. What did I say? I had a couple of pointers I wanted to bring into you. I want to show you first of all the actual results. Now we're going to again, we've got to be careful with the algos because the algos are chopping down anybody that's speaking anything like that. So we will speak in coded language as such. Let me bring this in. Here is the actual result per se. Going forward, that is what's being obfuscated by the obvious voter fraud. And I speak to my friends across the water. I know you're crowing, and I got much merriment directed at my Twitter account. I know how I did laugh along with you, but again, I could have said to you straight off the bat, well, yeah, you stole it fair and square, but all is not finished just yet. I remind you of these photographs here. That is the college election, or that is the result as we see it. But how many of you remember this early declaration from the 2000 elections, way back in the time machine, when the media, and I remind you, the media does not get to choose who the president of the United States is. And again, they jumped the gun here and spilled the beans early. I will announce today to you, my good friends, that I am indeed the High King of Ireland, and I anoint myself, and pretty soon I will get my stooges to broadcast that message so that you will all acquiesce and give in. And yes, GT is the High King of Ireland because the newspaper said it. Oh! Come on, people. The Gore bus situation rolled on for 38 days and wasn't resolved till the mid-December. This will go on. President Trump, I remind you, still your president. That got it, Ted. Still your president up until events through the courts. I'm not saying it's a clear-cut decision, but I'm saying there's obvious interference at the very least. One more photograph. One more picture. Oh, please. No, application. I want that one, and I want to extend. Oh, we don't have much real estate on the screen. But yeah, you've seen that one there. I'll show you this one here. What, 4,788 duplicate registration? You don't say. 32,515 more registered voters than eligible voters. No. 2,500 dead people voted. Really? The silent majority, Biden's silent majority, is they're all underground. And one voter, it was born in 1823. My liberal friends, please hold your merriment, hold your celebrations. And I wanted to leave this just here at the very end because we all know it's going to the Supreme Court. And if you get a chance, this was dropped by the Big Bear earlier on. In 1991, Senator Joe, Sleepy Joe, did everything in his power to destroy the life and reputation of one Mr. Clarence, Supreme Court Justice Thomas, who was eventually confirmed to the US Supreme Court. Today, Thomas is firmly in control of the SCOTUS majority de facto of Chief Justice. The 2020 election will be the most likely decided in the Supreme Court. Oh, you didn't just say that, GT. I did. Now, I like many other people, if I thought the election process was fair and square, and I thought, well, yeah, that's the way it is. You won it. You stole it fair and square. I would button my lip, soldier on, and crack on. What else is to have to go on? Ah, lovely. Yeah, so still your president. I'm talking to our friends over the United States. A long process to come over here. But the sheer graw, what I'm talking about is the sheer graw of our mainstream media to jump on board going, Joe will be the, can trace his lineage back to feckin' some obscure part of Offaly or some obscure part somewhere else. And again, the Irish Gambia media class jumping on board because they so desperately want Mr. Biden to be the president. But it ain't, I'm telling you, it ain't going to happen, folks. Everybody just relax. There are clear electoral votes. This will go to the Supreme Court, and thereupon maybe Mr. Clarence might have something to say, or maybe Miss Amy Coney Barrett might have something to say. Maybe Judge Brett Kavanaugh, from the disgusting way he was treated by the Democrats, maybe he might have something to say, or Justice, or the last Justice. But I'm not going to wallow in it. We've got plenty of time ahead. We've got, a long haul, a couple of weeks ahead. So I do have one or two articles. What else did I want to touch on here as well this morning? Not a lambasting per se, but firstly, the announcement: Tuesday's interview with the Bishop has been cancelled. The Bishop was not the Bishop that we think, and I thank our good friends Crowdsource the Truth, Jason Goodsman, for bringing us the information there as well of the social engineering of one Bishop Larry Gator. And we're quite lucky that we didn't get him on, and Jason had to go through the process, did a couple of shows with him, but again, it turns out that he is not who he says he is. And last but not least, that this is not a swipe. Please do not take this as a punch to the right. This is not a punch to the right. This is directed at Eire. Eire has done some great video broadcasts over the weekend. You have shown us statistic after statistic, chart after chart, and still they do not listen to you, Eire. What next? There's only so many video presentations. There's only so many conclusive, corroborating evidentiary charts that you can provide. What next? What I'm saying to you and what I've said all the start, not only just you, however, everybody else, mass demonstrations on the streets is the only thing that's going to take to them. Now, you're talking about the Stasi police being brought into the UK. They are fighting back. The good people of Liverpool, the good people of Manchester are fighting back. Gym owners are opening. Business owners are taking upon themselves to open up because they can see the need for their clientele to use their facilities. But not only just for that, for their mental health being, but for the business to proceed further. These lockdowns will destroy and tie us all to universal basic income. If business owners, entrepreneurs, the vintners, open up your businesses and crack on. If you all do it, they can't arrest you all and shut you all down, or there'll be huge litigation. This plandemic, scandemic is clearly designed to fear you into coercion, into the Great Reset, as it's being called. the Great Reset with part of their universal basic incomes. I seen Richard Dellingpole talking on London Talk over there. Everybody's talking about it. They now understand that the World Economic Forum is trying to use this fear-controlled, fraudulent scandemic perpetrated by the denizens and the denizens of the Gates and the Fauci, CDC, the whole thing. But they are not listening. That's why I'm getting back to Eire, and everybody else, all of us that have been pushing out charts, pushing out the alternative facts, alternative viewpoints of their alternative science that's being pushed out to counter the narrative. But the government will not listen because they are bought and sold into it. They have been bribed. They have been sold. They have been coerced into following along with this message. And it's up to us. The people is not in the house of the Oireachtas. The power is not in the houses of Parliament. The power is with us, we the people. If enough of us object to it, if enough of us push back. But people are startled. Mainstream media does have a huge voice and a huge amount of control over people. But if we can take stock from the good people of Liverpool and the good people of Manchester and people in our own jurisdictions over here, over the weekend, I know our good friend Dara had a good video drop over there, had a bit of an interaction with Garda Shia Khan. It's a tussle. It's a forward and back conversation. Some of the police are going to carry out their oath. Some of the on Garda Shia Khan will understand about the oath. But enough of them have to come on board, or enough of them have to come on side to start moderating the protests. People, we are going to have to start taking to the streets. Farmers, where are you? You've got the machinery to shut this city down just by your mere presence. You've done it before. You're probably being blackballed with some sort of payments that the EU is going to give you. That's not going to be enough. They are going to shut the farms down. They are already culling at an exponential rate. Yeah, Darren, Kate over in Tipperary too. Thanks. We got a few in the house this morning. I wasn't expecting to see. We've only got Periscope to stream over on live, but I will re-upload this. Okay, 2 articles, so we don't get time away. We're going to keep these to 30-minute broadcasts for the re-upload over to YouTube because we don't have all the posse here. We won't have all the gang in here for conversations. So the first of all, I'll actually this one here. Let me jump over. Let me jump over to here to this one. This is just breaking here this morning. I'm not going to read it out again because of the algorithms, but like in the last few minutes, we'll just go through it there as well. Georgia is coming into account. Some 132,000 ballots are now illegible. It's in the hands of the courts. No matter what they say, no matter what they do on their TVs, no matter how many gone-being politicians lauders how Joe Biden will be a great president, he ain't the president yet. Until that man swears on the Bible, he ain't the president yet. And you fuckwads, you absolute shit barons, won't even do you don't even understand to tell the Irish people the due process that he is not elected president until it's all the ballots are certified. There are 4 open litigations and more starting today. You remember, as I said, from the first photograph when President Gore, no, you don't remember President Gore because that didn't happen because the media tried to self-appoint him as they are trying to do here now with Sleepy Joe. Has anybody asked Siri how old the President of the United States is? Some interesting feedback is they're already touting Kamala Harris as the future president. Myself, I'm going to let due process and the rule of law take case. It's going to be anarchical over in the United States. It's going to be fraught with violence, but we can learn from that. I do believe come January the 14th, President Trump will still be our president because of the outright fraud. These people hadn't even got the intelligence to carry the fraud out clearly and ease it in. 400 ballots dumped at 4 a.m. in the morning. Stop counting at 10 o'clock at night to resume just to see how many ballots you need. Clearly voter fraud. And no matter how much RTE or the rest of them over here start to push, oh, Joe Biden's great, the Trumpman's bad, let them expunge themselves because the popcorn is still being eaten. And the salt mining will be absolutely glorious. And it'll be even worse than 2016. But let's finish by way of all things. Hoi 19 with Taiwan. Taiwan is going to be crucial in two situations, in two stories, because of the article I'm going to read to you now from Zero Hedge in relation to that. They've even fared better than Taiwan and Sweden. They've even done even better, Sweden. We'll go through the article. It's an 8-minute read. But also, should the worst happen, and I'm not saying it's still up for grabs, this is down to be decided by the courts. Sleepy Joe could get it. He might have got the required legal ballots to become the president of the United States. But until that situation is resolved, President Trump is still your presidente up until January. So suck on that for a little bit longer. But should the worst happen and Sleepy Joe become president, I believe there will be an invasion of Taiwan. That's been touted before. Many news commentators over on Australian outlets have talked about the outright danger that as soon as in February, when there's some sort of agreement, that China will move on Taiwan. But let's check in on this story, the mystery of Taiwan. In 2020, most countries in the world locked down their societies with the goal of controlling the COVID-19 pandemic. There were some outliers, with Sweden, Belarus, Tanzania, and some US states deployed little in the way of non-pharmaceutical interventions. Another fascinating outlier cited as a case in which a government handled the pandemic the correct way was Taiwan. Taiwan presents an anomaly in the mitigation and overall handling of COVID-19 pandemic. In terms of stringency, Taiwan ranks amongst the lowest in the world, with fewer controls than Sweden and far lower than the US. And you can see by the chart, starting in them from January all the way through to the corresponding months up until around about November the 6th. And there's a further chart down here, but Taiwan even fares lower on the scale than Sweden, the United States, or Peru. The government did tests at the border and introduced some minor controls, but nowhere near that of most countries. In general, Taiwan rejected lockdown in favor of maintaining social and economic functioning. And straining on this chart here, you can see at the inception of it, they started to screen travelers from Wuhan and started a public information campaign. As more cases developed, the government then introduced controls to the Epidemic Command Center, started the Epidemic Command Center. They then, coming up towards the middle of January, they put a ban on exports of masks to keep their own stocks, which is understandable. And then around about middle of January, they closed the schools. Into February, then it closed down. Then schools reopened from March. More public gathering restrictions came into place as cases, and they began to figure it out. Then foreign nationals prevented from entering Taiwan in and through around January, in April, May. And then they've removed the restrictions on public gatherings and then just put limited restrictions on travel restrictions, and then they've carried on as normal. How did Taiwan fare in terms of cases? Taiwan has seen 573, which is remarkably low for a country with a population of close to 24 million and a population density of 1,700 per people per square mile. Daily cases, again, matches pretty much the European average, which is the spike around about March, April time, and then leaning off as the curve was indeed flattened. But because they haven't done unparalleled or unprecedented amount of testing, they have remained and just kept account of their daily cases up until November, have pretty much flatlined and remained the same. In terms of death, the numbers are even more striking. Throughout the entire pandemic, Taiwan experienced only 7 deaths. Of the deaths, the individuals were in their 40s to 80s, the majority with pre-existing health conditions. How many newspaper articles have we had over here? Even the Irish Slimes has come over here and said that the majority of people here in this country had pre-existing underlying conditions. You know, Eire, we can keep pushing out all these charts, but they are not listening, and they are never going to listen, because there's no one to hold them to account, because they are drunk on power and they are never going to let it go. And they are going to slow march this economy into the debt spiral and place us all in universal. Not all of us have to accept universal basic income, but those of us that will be caught in the debt trap with mortgages and stuff like that to feed families will have to take the extended furlough. And who's going to do that? These are future borrowings so that future generations will have to pay this back, but it'll never be paid back. They are lassoing us into the usury debt, which E. Michael Jones and some other commentators we've often spoke about. Even at now, this current debt level is unsustainable for future 1 or 2 generations unless the drastic change of course is introduced. To put this into perspective, in a stringent territory with similar demographics, LA County's population is 10 million and a population density of 2,500 per square mile, meaning slightly denser but less populated. But by contrast, it has had 309,000 cases and 7,000 deaths. How did Taiwan maintain such low numbers? A paper from The Lancet aims to answer this question by providing a few explanations. The author's main claim is that Taiwan's rapid mobilization is ascribed to pre-COVID medical institutions, which include the Taiwan CDC, established in 1990, and the Central Epidemic Command Center. In addition, Taiwan's outbreak of SARS in 2003 allowed them to create plans for managing a similar disease later on. For example, a 2005 study of SARS in Taiwan already discussed preparation measures in the case of a new outbreak, explaining that focus must be directed towards the older and immunocompromised populations, and hospitals should be managed vigilantly. Drawing on previous experience, Taiwan created a culture in which masks are worn widely and implemented advanced contact tracing technologies and the early screening of international travelers. Now, check this out. I know you're all going to freak out there. Oh, the mandatory masks. No. However, masks were not worn by all citizens and were rather valued for its protection from air pollution. The Lancet authors attribute these strategies to Taiwan's low cases and deaths. But here is a puzzle. Usually when public health intellectuals speak of a good handling of a pandemic, they express the need for widespread testing. That is followed by an exhortation to track and isolate again. Taiwan did some of this at the border. Taiwan did have a wide availability of tests, unlike the US, and did have an open testing approach so that anyone could get tested, symptomatic or not. Even then, Taiwan had one of the lowest scores on tests per 1,000 of any country in the world. Only one person in 100,000 undertook a COVID-19 test. And you can see the population down here, the testing flatlining. You introduce more testing, you leave it to people to get tested, and you'll get this. Sweden, United States, United Kingdom now testing off the charts and working itself into a tizzy. I'm hoping that the good people will push back. I'm hoping that the government will see sense and not steer this towards civil war. It's happening. It's coming if they don't ease off. The government maintained an open communication and transparency with its citizens. For example, the Taiwan CDC produced daily reports on the state of coronavirus in the country. Taiwan's reports are not politicized attempts to generate hysteria, as in places like the US and other European countries, but are straightforward and concentrated on the actual numbers. This same strategy was also at work in places that did not impose lockdowns, including South Dakota and Sweden. Although one could argue that the top-down approach to information are flawed, there is something to be said for a country that values transparency because it allows for the public to have greater trust in the information provided to them. As former Taiwanese Vice President Shen has stated, I would like to point out a critical element of the Taiwan model: transparency. From the very beginning of the pandemic, the Taiwanese government has spared no effort in ensuring that the general public has open access to COVID-19 information. Another explanation for Taiwan's proactive approach is that it possesses first-hand information on coronavirus management from its SARS-CoV-1 experience in 2003, which has informed its response and mitigation plans. The fact that Taiwan has dealt with another coronavirus outbreak previously has allowed it to alleviate devastating effects in later years. Taiwanese health authorities shared information with other countries. Former VP Shen explained why this was crucial, given the Taiwanese SARS experience in 2003. Quote, international cooperation is the only way to fight a global outbreak. We are more than happy to share our knowledge, experience, and expertise with the international community. Taiwan can help, and Taiwan is helping. Nevertheless, other countries and NGOs fail to recognize Taiwan's unique knowledge and thus do not consider it in the competing market of information that could ultimately inform policy decisions. Perhaps one of the reasons for this issue is that the WHO refuses to acknowledge Taiwan's independence from China. thus excluding the country from participating in discussions surrounding the pandemic. This stubbornness prevents the dissemination of useful information that could protect people from illness and economic affliction, thus only serving to create harm. We are still left with a mystery. Taiwan did not lock down, it did not widely test, and yet it had the lowest death rate per million of any populous country in the world. It experienced 0.3 deaths per million and ranks 189th in the world. What, then, is the explanation? As much as public health authorities in the West wanted to consider policy as a decisive factor in the success or failure of a pandemic response, the Taiwanese case might have nothing at all to do with public policy response. The real explanation deals with innate immunities from other vaccines or virus exposures. For example, a study found SARS-CoV-1 reactive T cells in patients who were infected with SARS 17 years ago. Even though about 680 people in Taiwan were infected with SARS in 2003, the study shows a possibility that enduring T cells could influence the effect of SARS-CoV-2 has on people with certain pre-existing immunities. A different study found that there were not strong differences in mortalities between Asia, the Middle East, Latin America, and Western countries, suggesting that genetic factors may also play a role in these disparities. Although the extent of Taiwan government overstep and tracking could be viewed as constituting an infringement on individual rights and privacy, its lighter hand to COVID-19 management has proven wise. The country has seen extremely low cases and, more importantly, low death rates. Its economic performance is projected to fare better than other countries. Taiwan is expected to experience 0% growth in 2020 GDP, neither losing nor gaining in wealth, while US GDP is expected to contract by 3.5% in 2020. I don't know what our projections are. Something like 20%. 20% seems to ring mine. Maybe that's astronomical, but certainly we are in for some unprecedented times in the future. This government gets at the heart of Taiwan's strategy. Although the government may have overstepped relative to what was necessary, it was able to minimize costs by not shutting down or preventing all people from carrying on a normal life. There are undoubtedly reasons accounting for Taiwan's success, such as its low poverty level. Still, Taiwan presents an important case study that warrants further investigation. In 2003, Taiwan faced one of the highest SARS infection rates in the world. Now, the COVID-19 infection rate in Taiwan is one of the lowest, despite the country not locking down. The Taiwanese case reveals something extraordinary about pandemic response. As much as public health authorities imagine that the trajectory of a new virus can be influenced or even controlled by policies and responses, the current and past experiences of coronavirus illustrate a different point. The severity of a new virus might have far more to do with endogenous factors within a population rather than the political response. According to the lockdown narrative, Taiwan did almost everything wrong, but generated what might in fact be the best results in terms of public health of any country in the world. Okay, live gang. Great to see so many of you up in there. Transparency, based, be honest, absolutely. Off team rounds. Great to see you over on Periscope. We have a little posse. We have our own little entourage here over in Periscope, D Live, and Twitch. Fantastic to see all of you over here. I wonder if I can get this working here. I just want to have a quick pass of this and see if this one works now. No, this one here. Try this one, Bob. Biddly bing. Oh, there you go. Just so you know, they have links to the Twitter. Instagram, if you want to join us, Grandstream Ireland over on Instagram. We will be streaming from there. Daily reports will be out and about. We do have the Gran Torino back. Facebook, Rowan Croft GT. If you want to come over, we are on a 30-month ban over on Facebook. Gran Torino, obviously, over here on YouTube. Last but not least, over on Twitch, Grant_Torino_Ireland. If you want to join us for the live broadcast. If you want to transport yourself away from YouTube for a while. But that's not to say, I think the Twitch, I'm going to keep the Twitch for another thing. And also our good friends over at D Live as well. Off Trillion says Northern Ireland restaurants are losing millions in this lockdowns. Yep, absolutely. Paul K says no tinted windows or no transparency here. 100%. Irish people call it, yeah, Irish people calling him Joe in the papers. It's absolutely sickening. Good morning, Irish Citizen Junior. Great to see you. What else have we got here? Just catch up with some of your conversations. Stargirl is joining us from over in Twitch. She says, just when we thought 1994 Wuhan flu was over, residents in Utah received emergency notification that the virus was out of control and would overwhelm hospitals. That's something else is going on there, Stargirl. You know yourself, trying to drive it all up. Who have we got there as well? John Kelly. Great to see you, John Kelly. Thanks for joining us, for putting out here. Probably no notifications, but you do know we're going to be streaming at 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. daily. Now, that's going to change as well. I'm going to have to go reduce now because we're not live streaming on YouTube. We're not able to live stream on Facebook. I think a 30-day hiatus. So just as an information, I think we'll be streaming or we'll be recording Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the evenings. I think the morning shows are going to have to take a back seat. So this will be the last week. But let me know your thoughts. Leave your comments in the comment section over here on YouTube. Just for the 30-day break that Facebook has generously decided to give us, we might ease back on the streams because not many people are migrating over from YouTube. I know it's very hard and uncomfortable for people to try and... Good morning, Keith. Great to see you. To try and jump over. I know there's a good posse here now. 38 joining us. Majority from Periscope and on Twitter. Great to see you, folks. Thanks very much for joining me. So, but I want to just... I just finish off on that point. I wasn't having a pop at Ivor Cummins, but what I'm saying to you, Ivor, now is there's only so much we can do in video presentations. Now it's time to get a little bit more street affirmative. Now it's time for a little bit more pushback. Even all the scientists, doctors from the Great Barrington Declaration are not having much influence. It's going to be the same here. Our government are slow walking us into top-down authoritarian control for the foreseeable future. These lockdown, these honeymoon periods when these laws are supposed to rescind and restrict are not going to do. They're going to keep pushing it forward, and we were going to be in perpetual martial law. Now is the time for you to use your platform and for many others to start organizing street actions and start calling for civil disobedience on the streets. Yes, I know it could quite possibly be arrested for speaking like this, but if the idea isn't put out there, if the vibration isn't sent, then enough people won't do it. Farmers, vintners, business owners coming together. It's not a political situation. This is for the protection of the Constitution of Ireland. If it means anything and anything to you, now is the time to start using it and defending it. Thank you, Twim Candil. I'm great to see that you're getting notifications over there too, over on Twitch. Yeah, the truth is being buried by mainstream. So look, this is a distraction, this sleepy Joe Biden. There's more than enough corrupt information with his dealings over in Ukraine. And you only have to look, I mean, the cognitive dissonance here from our side, not from our side, but people over here in this judiciary, like they were screaming Russian collusion and saying that the election was fraudulent and that he shouldn't have got in. And now that these results come in, the elections could never be dealt with. I mean, come on. This is America. This isn't some third world country. The same accusations were leveled at Ukraine. Posters weren't able to review the counting of the tally boxes and stuff like that. The dead voters coming in from 1923 as far back as the 1800s. Come on, people. This is going to court. This is going to go through the courts. We are in for a couple of weeks of roller coaster. But I firmly believe we will have another 4 years of salt mining. It's the only way forward. Okay, I'm spilling over my time there, live chat. Just a quick experiment, just to touch in. Tune in tonight. I think I'll be joined by maybe by Dr. Bruce Scott. If not, I'll be streaming on my own, and I'll bring you some more news articles and some more interactions from our briefings over here in Europe. To my friends over in the United States, keep the faith, keep yourself safe as well. Also, I'm sure things will work out. At the end of the day, all of this has to go one way or the other to the Supreme Court, unless the fraudsters, are caught red-handed. Okay, before I let you go, and as I always do, please don't forget our friends over at the littlepharma.ie. The littlepharma.ie, we love our enzymes so much, we keep them alive. Wheatgrass and barleygrass shots full of goodness. One wheatgrass shot is equivalent to 1 kilogram of your leafy green veg, and barleygrass juice is full of antioxidants. Just shake and shoot. Don't forget to go over there and give you your continued support. For those of you over here on YouTube, please don't forget to smash that like button. Hit the subscription button if you're new. And also hit the bell and you'll be reminded of future broadcasts here on the Grand Torino. Please, if you would, if you could, please brighten my Norman Star by leaving your thoughts, comments, and witticisms in the comment section down below. We do love to read through them. Let me know your thoughts on, let's ease it back on the streams because we're not able to interact on the live stream anymore for a period of time, with Facebook being taken out now as well, and YouTube holding the balance of power on all things with their censorships. But maybe Section 230 will be removed, something that will have to be done about that, because the outright censorship from tech giants has been off the charts. That's why I'm kind of alluding to the conversation and I'm not dealing with it directly. We're going to focus on our situation back here in Ireland and the outright fraud that is being perpetrated on us here in the Republic of Ireland. As you know, we are demonetized, but we are not demoralized, and we can rely completely on your help and your generosity. Thank you. A big shout out to all of you that are continuing to use the Grand Torino website, World Wide Web, grandtorino.ie. Also, links in the description box for you here on YouTube, how you can support the show in various different ways. You can push that out. But at the very least, smash that like button and push us out into the algorithms while we still have a platform over there on YouTube. We'll keep things going forward. And if you would, if you could, if you have enough minds, please send us your correspondence. A big shout out to all of you that have sent me. I have them over there. I still have to go through them. Birthday cards. Thank you for your birthday well wishes for last week. We will do, when all this nonsense comes down, we will have a bit of some sort of a celebration going forward. I look very much forward to that. And again, a big thank you for all of you that are supporting the show in your own little way, doing your own little thing. So I'll see you later on this evening here. I'll see you back here later on. 8 p.m. this evening. Should be good for a stream. We should have our good friend Dr. Bruce Scott in with us tonight. I know it's a miserable and overcast day today, but keep your strength. Keep yourself warm and wrapped up. Make sure you're getting plenty of vitamins. Make sure you're getting plenty of exercise. Make sure you're getting your zinc, all your mineral and health requirements to keep yourself going. And I'll see you later on this evening. Everybody, have a great and blessed day. Look after yourselves.